Hi, my name is Mercedes Kamick. I am doing my second video for Module 5 for AEP 800, and it is over the discussion of barriers to Web 2.0. The summary over the article that we read, it discussed how schools aren't integrating technology into instruction for a few reasons. There's lack of time and training for staff and teachers. There's lack of technology support within buildings and districts. And there's lack of administrative support also within the buildings and districts. It also discussed how there was a digital divide and that not all schools are equipped with the technology that they may need in order to be successful, and how not all people within the district have access to internet to make them successful with technology. There were advantages to Web 2.0, and that is that they were given real-world experience and that it had constructivists. And the disadvantages of Web 2.0 was that there was social network and addiction and cyberbullying. Can the digital divide be resolved? In my opinion, I don't think that it can. There will be always students that do not have internet access at home. There's always families without computers or devices, and there's always going to be poverty within the world. So I don't feel that digital divide the gap will ever be completely closed. However, in schools, I think that it is possible to have the digital divide closed if the funding is made available and that funding can stay within those buildings, if there's training made available for all the teachers and staff, and if there's administrative support that is consistent so that they don't always just getting money and then taking it back and then losing that technology, or if they have people coming in to train people and then they don't necessarily utilize that training. For 21st century learners, I think that there are some skill sets that are needed. You must be creative and innovative. You have to be able to problem solve and think outside of the box. You have to be able to communicate and collaborate with your peers and people within the community. You must be flexible. You have to know how to lead. You have to be productive citizens, and you can use technology. I think that within my classroom, those are the things that I actually say. I want to have productive citizens, and I speak to these all the time about how my kids need to be able to think outside the box, use their imaginations, work as a group, and come up with solutions. How does the global economy impact me personally? I do not have internet at home. Not to say that I'm on a poverty-stricken level. However, I do not have internet. We live out in the country, and it's very difficult to get internet, and it's very expensive. So the cost is it's just not worth it to me. So I do not have my own personal internet at home. I have to come to school to do anything that I need to record. At schools, I think that many of the students at my school do not have access at home. We are in a building that have some low-income families, and there's a lot of kids that come in and tell me they do not have internet and aren't able to do a lot of the assignments that I set up for them at home. There's a lot of students that do not have computers, especially in the elementary school. There's a lot of students that don't have computers or phones. The article discussed how a lot of families have phones at home and devices. Well, that's true. However, lots of my students are not able to use those devices because they're at the age that they are at. So it's a little bit different for my fifth graders, that part. I have to send a lot of messages home and packets, print out the information for parents because of the lack of internet at home. So I know that not everyone has internet, and I know that we have a digital divide here in my building and district. The training that is still needed, I think that continued education is always helpful. I think that if we're able to go and learn more, obviously it's going to help us out more. Professional development geared toward technology would be great. We have a really good staff here and a lot of young teachers who share a lot of information with us. However, it's never enough, obviously. Our computer teacher goes to a lot of training and comes and shares all that information with us, so that's always really nice. New usage for the technology that we are currently using in our building would be great. We have a lot of technology in our building, but most of us don't even know how to use it. We have a Apple TV, for instance, in our building, and I think it's maybe been used 3 times. So we have all of this technology in our building, but nobody knows how to use it. So I think that would be helpful for our building. We need to have ideas on what we can do with what we have available, like the Apple TV, and we need to have new ideas and strategies that can be helpful. I think that if we had different sites where we could all go and meet together in a building and discuss how we could use the technology, how we could make new strategies to use that technology and actually practice it, I think that we'd be much more successful with our technology. In our building, we are equipped. We have iPads, Chromebooks, personal computers, Google Apps, Promethean boards in every room, an Apple TV, internet access, and I have the students bring their own devices if they have them available at home. However, like I just stated, a lot of the equipment that we have in our building, we don't know how to use. So it would be great if we had more training on the things that we do have. The advantages of Web 2.0 was that it addresses students' needs. The deaf and blind students, they're able to use this. I think that this is great. Technology is always great, especially during state assessments for the deaf and blind students, that we have the technology so that they can have a fair advantage to the test taking. Constructive learning environment, students create their own knowledge. I think it's great to have a PBL and have the kids be able to create something on their own by doing it. It's a real audience. Readers from all over can comment and make suggestions. I think that's neat to have the kids be able to see what other people may tell them to work on or to improve on. And they're able to collaborate. They can collaborate with others to prepare for the real world. Collaboration is a huge thing in my classroom. We do a lot of projects and we do a lot of collaboration. And it's important for me that my kids are able to collaborate and get along even at the age of 10. The disadvantages of Web 2.0 were that there's viral postings. There's crashing sites all the time, which everybody knows that's going to happen. It happens a lot in our classroom. If we get too many kids on the internet at one time, the sites will crash. It happened at state assessments last year. Everybody was trying to take the test and the site crashed. So we know that that's going to happen. Social network addiction. Children today feel like they need social network. Completely untrue, but they feel that they need that in order to communicate with their friends outside of school. It causes spam. Inappropriate ads are constantly popping up at my school. I have to watch every video before I show it with the kids, or I have to try to find some way to block those spam ads because of all the inappropriate things that come up. Cyberbullying, I find to be ridiculous. In our class last year, I had a lot of cyberbullying. It became a huge problem. The kids, even at the age of 10, are able to make other kids feel terrible strictly through social networking. And identity theft. Being able to teach the kids to be responsible would help, but it is a disadvantage, and there is going to be identity theft happen, especially with children who don't know. Ask their parents for a credit card number, and there you go. We had a lot, like I just said, of inappropriate use. Internet bullying has happened in my classroom and outside of my classroom. It causes many issues with my parents, and it has come to the school. Even if it's done at home, the kids still see it, come to school, and discuss it. So it is a problem. Internet bullying has been a huge problem in my classroom. Pictures and comments, problems with social media sites outside of school, but still discussed in school. Like I just said, they would post things on their Instagram account, bring it to school, talk about it, and it just blows up, and it's a huge problem. I also struggle with a lot of my kids on Google Slides chatting back and forth with each other inappropriately. We've caught them making slides that were inappropriate. We've caught them making videos on the iPads that are inappropriate. We cannot monitor them at all times. We are able to monitor them when we're walking around the room or when they've shared it with us, but it still happens and they're still able to hide it. That was my video, and I hope you enjoyed the barriers to Web 2.0.